Hello, viewers. Welcome to the second episode of season 2 of South Asia Democratic Forum podcast. In this episode, we are talking about behind the headlines, religious minorities and their struggle for survival. I have two guests with me today. One is Mr. Dhiman Deb Choudhury, President of the Human Rights Congress for Bangladesh Minorities. He is a humanist, human rights activist, and also we have Advocate Lucky Bacchar, Convenor of Human Rights Congress for Bangladesh Minorities, and a human rights defender. Welcome on board, Advocate Lucky Bacchar and Mr. Dhiman Deb Choudhury.
Thank you.
So, first of all, I
Thank
will
you.
go to Mr. Dhiman Deb Choudhury that tell us about your organization, HRCBM.
It goes with the story, and the story is very pathetic. 2001, and probably you know this history, when BNP and Jamaat Islam took the power. It was right before that, the election happening at 2001. There was a reign of terror, and actually Bangladesh government later on in 2014 disclosed a Bangladesh Gazette, which disclosed about what happened in Vola, Chorfashion, and Lalmohan, that area. So one of the lady somehow escaped from there to West Bengal, and I don't know how she got in there. But one of my friend took me there in Howrah, and I found her with the two little children on her lap. And the first look she has given me, as if she has nothing to survive for. Only thing that she is surviving is clinching on those one boy and one girl. For their survival, she's surviving. And the horror and the story she has given me, every places she went through for a little bit of comfort, right? First of all, she was gang raped. Hundreds of people came into her home. I don't know how many gang raped her, but she was gang raped, and her name was Shefali, right? She was gang raped, brutally gang raped, and her husband was killed on the spot, and she dragged herself with her little children to some of the neighbors, and in return she got the same brutality. When she dragged herself across the border some way or other, and I don't know the real stories behind it, because bits and pieces what she told me. And I was in a visit to the Udbastus, we call them, to see some of the people that escaped out of those violence to India, to go and visit them and see their conditions and understand their stories. So she told me these stories about what happened to her in bits and pieces, and I can piece together that when she was crossing the border, she was again gang raped. This is, you can see sometimes the scar, the physical scar, and you think that is a genocidal crime. But how do you define a genocidal crime when the scar lasts years after years, right? And it never goes away. It is inside your mind. You live and die every moment. And it's bigger than getting a bomb and just kills you. Living with the horror and nightmare every single day, dying, is only the people that has gone through that passionate pain will understand what that means, right? So after talking with her, I realized, and along with my friends, that there is a sinister plot against minorities, the way the violence are occurring in the country. We need to create an institution. We have lots of parties and a lot of Hindu organization, but we do not have an institution that can look after them in terms of their rights, in terms of their dignity. And that's where 2001 we formed HRCBM. Then 2003 it was registered as one of the human rights organization here in the United States. Followed by that, we did the registration in France, Bangladesh, and so on and so forth. And during the time, we sent Advocate Robindra Ghosh to some of those places there, and you cannot believe that people were giving their children to us. So we end up having 40 children that time, and there was a small Accra type of orphanage there at Netrakuna, Durgapur area, and we didn't know what to do with these children. So we sent those children to Noyan Goswami. And I recall sitting on my lunch, and he called me, Dhiman Babu, you are eating. What do I do with these children? How can I feed them? So I went to a Lafayette school here in California, and that is a Jewish children's school, seventh grade. They call Temple of Isaiah, seventh grade school. And I presented their stories, their ordeals, that everywhere we go, the parents are giving their children to us. And we don't know how to feed them, and we do not have the means to feed them. You know what the children has done? They ask their parents to bring their car, and these little children washed their car and gave me $10,000. With that $10,000, we have helped that orphanage to become what it is today, right? After that, of course, One World and Seva International and other organizations helped that orphanage. That was the beginning, the story of why HRCBM was born, right? The two stories you could see. We have millions of people, but when it comes to four, nobody was there, right? So with that pain, HRCBM was formed because we just wanted to touch them.
Thank you. So I want to ask that what is the situation of religious minorities in Bangladesh in your experience?
So, 1946, as you know, Noakhali riot happened, right? It was not a riot. It was a day of the Lakhi Puja. And then you see that marauders just came in and, you know, ran that rampage across the villages.
So
1946 was the first massacre happening in Noakhali, and it continuing massacres and rampage. It's continuing from 1946 to 1950, 1951, 1952, 1960, 1964, 1971. Then, if you look through his 1980s, 1990s, and every year, and then it's continuing until today. And after August 4 until today, there has been 3,000 incident of brutal violence. I'm talking about genocidal type of crime, which I made the claim in the United Nations, and it's continuing.
even the reduction of numbers of minorities will support your story, because in 1947 there were 30% of Hindus in Bangladesh. Then it became 21% in 1971, and now there is 9 to 10% of Hindus. So there is a huge number of Hindus who left Bangladesh or who perhaps died or lost to statistics. That also supports your story or information about the religious minorities in Bangladesh. So now I will come to Advocate Lucky Bacchar. Advocate Lucky, can you tell us that what is happening to the religious minorities in Bangladesh after 5th of August
Uh,
2024?
the situation of minority in Bangladesh after August 5, 2024 is indescribable due to the lack of registration of any political party by the minorities in this country. Due to the support given to the pro-independence party, all minorities, regardless of party or opinion, are termed as collaborators of the fascist government. As a result, their lives are in danger. In addition, due to the silent role of the police administration, no one has received any kind of proper justice anywhere. No one has received any administrative assistance, in which people are terrified and minorities are suffering from false and harassing cases.
Mr. Divan, from your website, I have learned that there are a number of incidents that took place between August 5 and August 20. Till now, there is a number that is mentioned on your website, and you have done certain press conferences on this matter as well. So, can you give us the numbers and what kind of incidents took place after August 5th?
So there has been several type of which I call collectively genocidal crime: arson, looting, gang rape, forced conversion to extortion, right? And that has been some of the crime that is continuing throughout the Bangladesh because of DS, Digital Security Act, which has been used as a blasphemy act. Nowadays, you could go to social media, hack someone's account, and then spew this some of the heinous words against one religion or other, and specifically that has taken that these people, Hindus or Buddhist or Christian, they are using social media to go after Muslim religion. But that's not the case. Actually, those accounts are being hacked with an ill motives in mind. The opportunity always want, like you have a business, for example, they want to go after you or your property or things like that. So they use these social media accounts to go after these people, and village after village has been burned down because of this tsunami happened very recently. And now we are hearing another in the Dinajpur area, right? They confine the people of villages in there, and Bangladesh government is not taking step because, see, this is a one-sided mentality. When the temples are being broken or anything, there is no blasphemy act, there is no DSA, right? You can go and all the clerics in social media talking about all kinds of stuff about various different religion. So there is no DSA, there is nothing against them. When it comes to minorities, and whenever they speak out of anything, that account has been collectively hacked and used in this kind of purposes to go after them and attack them. We raise this matter to not only Bangladesh government, to United Nations as well as to International Criminal Court, that how DSA has been used as a blasphemy act. In fact, I have reached out to American Bar Association last year and given them 1,000 list of 1,000 people. Along with them, I have given to Freedom House as well. And I mentioned this to US State Department to look into this, right? I called upon International Criminal Court on behalf of HRCBM to do prosecutor investigation. Look into this genocidal crime under Article 6, where it says, if you have any intention to destroy, in part, physically or mentally, a group of people, it constitutes to be genocide, right? Within this definition, everything is happening in Bangladesh. And government cannot say that we didn't reach out. So many letters, so many uh, complaint that we have filed or we have given as a proof to the government, to the United Nations as well. Uh, but to our dismay, government didn't reach out to me. And I personally wrote to the Home Ministry. I personally wrote to IGP. None has reached out back to us. Now, I'll not say that some of the administration is not helping us. In certain cases, some administration are helping us, but the denial and deceit that we have seen in previous government continues to be present in present government. And it is a vicious cycles. Because of this, impunity culture has been fostered in the country. That now dragging down minorities, but that will surely drag down the entire society at large. So we received over 3,000 incidents. Some of them we are verifying, some of them we have already verified. There has been rape, conversion, arson, looting, destruction of temple, pillaging of minority properties, whether businesses, temples, homes, and also forceful kidnapping of the girls. And some of the bodies that we are finding nowadays with the head chopped off, these bodies we believe that are probably connected to those kidnapped girls or those girls being converted. Now, in Bangladesh, it's very difficult to use a DNA evidence, and it will take time for us to find the actual evidence of who has been the people behind it, and who was the person being killed. But that said, we are still verifying, and we continue to verify, and we are filing a public interest litigation on some of this, right? For example, we are going after the false cases. The false cases has been used. 15 cases we have analyzed. We have seen 5,407 people has been implicated in false cases, right? So we are going after that, and you're going to see sooner or later there are going to be public interest litigation will be filed. We are going after the gang rape cases that has been alarming right now in the country. Yes.
The number of false cases that you mentioned, does do all of these cases involve religious minorities?
Yes, there's 15, 15 cases that we analyzed with 5,407 people. All of them are implicated, the minority people, and with an intention to curtail their voice. Basically, you cannot now go out and freely talk about your rights. And this was
Okay.
the law has been used as a tool to kind of silence that voices.
Now I'll go back again to Advocate Lucky Basar. Advocate Lucky, you have been talking with the victims, especially the victims of rape and women who are victims of brutal torture and attack on them after 5th of August. So, what is your experience with the victims? How are they? What are they telling you?
Everyday victim support our office, two or three victim in the office, and many places visited. So very painful and difficult at the moment.
Are they protected by the government, these
No,
victims?
no, no, no protected.
Okay, Mr. Dhiman, my question
Yes.
is that what is the response of the current government of these incidents against the religious minorities?
You have seen probably from the press briefing and everything else, it's the same tactics, denial, right? Now, I have appealed back several times to previous government and the current government alike on behalf of the organization that denial is not the way to build a nation, right? Everybody's right should be respected. Denial only you could put behind it, but it is going to come back. And one day you are going to be responsible for this denial and you would be dragged into the court. How that law will be enforced, we do not know. We only hope that one day our country will wake up to what happened, and at that point we may find that all the people that has denied things today are being considered complicit of this crime. That's all I can say.
So, Advocate Lucky, that the a fact-finding team from UN visited Bangladesh. Did they contact you for information?
Yeah, contact NG and women victims and details information, discuss this situation, get moment, everything.
Okay, Mr. Dhiman, can you explain it a little bit that what kind of information you shared with them and what is your experience with the UN fact-finding team?
So they contacted a team of people, legal team as well as investigative team contacted me early on, and they were that because we have sent some people to Geneva who have submitted a complaint, and then they contacted me. But the first thing they said, we are only interested from July to August 5th. And then they said,
Hmm.
another group said, okay, 5th to August 20th. And when they
Hmm.
contacted, I was asking them, why are these dates? What are the specific purpose of these dates, right? And they couldn't answer me.
Hmm.
And they were only interested what Awami League has done. And when I'm
Hmm.
talking about minorities, they're discounting all this. They're saying, oh, this is part of the probably the political turmoil and this is happening. But I clearly understood and clearly challenged them in several occasions. And not only that, I challenged the United Nations Committee through a formal letter to them that their investigation, I do not agree with the type of thought process they have behind it to investigate minority situation. Of course, one of the person went to investigate the arson cases in Takurgao. And guess what?
Okay.
One of the student told me that they wanted to take this lady to the places where the arson has occurred, but she is not going over there. She was with some Communist Party leaders and
Hmm.
sitting in a hotel room. And when I called her, she's saying,
Hmm.
it is very dangerous to go there. I said, you are part of UN investigating team. Why didn't you go to the people and talk with them? She said, well, I'm right now busy. Some of the people came to me talking, so I'll talk with you later. That was the attitude. Now,
Hmm.
There are few people who has been stayed connected with me and wanted to find out details, and I have shared the details. But if you
Mhm.
look at how the UN team has framed the matter in their report, they talked
Mhm.
about a situation happened with Bangladesh minorities, but their whole
Mhm.
purpose was to somehow, that I think, and maybe I am wrong, but my assumption was is to support this government, right?
Mhm.
And not
Mhm.
find them complicit of some of the act that they have done, the culture of impunity, what I'm talking about, through this denial of.
Mhm.
And I do not know why the government was doing this. Just recognizing what happened would have been uplifted their spirit, right? Because
Mhm.
we all thought
Right.
that is going to be new Bangladesh. But this is the same mentality that they are. Why? Just to showcase Bangladesh is a very beautiful country. There is nothing happened there. You cannot convince the world that way, right? And you cannot build a
Right.
nation that way. That's all I have to say. I find UN team was hiding the whole truth, and they shouldn't have done this.
So that means that whatever report you provided them, that was not mentioned in the UN report as well.
No, it was not. And Advocate Lucky Bacchar went there, met with the team there in Bangladesh
Mhm.
after those investigative team left. And in fact, one of the lady, her name is Angie, she contacted back Advocate Lucky just for knowing what was the number of gang rape. Now, at the time, we have given
Mhm.
46 women that were we have verified
Mm.
gang raped. Now, the
After 5th of
question
August.
after 5th of August. Right.
Oh my God.
It was when 22nd August that we have told her that 46. Now, as you know, the situation was so bad for us to even go and verify. And in what happened is because of social taboo, because of social
Mhm.
shame, Hindu families, specifically Hindus and Buddhist families, they do not come out. Right, I'm talking about Buddhist families from the Chittagong Hill Tract as well, right?
Mhm.
And other places. Even there are small pockets of tribals around indigenous people around the country. And this happened with them
Mhm.
as well. And we said that there would be in hundreds. We just don't know because I know Firuzpur, three girls who was gang raped. And their family,
Mhm.
I sent the people there, their family completely denied nothing happened to them. Right. And we couldn't find those girls in those villages, right? They have moved to
Mhm.
somewhere else. So the tendency from minority communities not to come forward also complicate the matter, right? So we mention all this, and they didn't even mention about the gang rape, forced conversion, kidnapping, and so many things, and so much brutality that happened. Villages and other places, people went and pillaging on those minority properties and businesses. They have not mentioned any of this, and I have given pictures. Even I have given a
Mhm.
list of 100 people that whose houses was burned down in the Thakurgaon, Lalmonine areas. One village had 19 families' houses has been torn apart. Right,
Mhm.
I requested to several NGO, including United Nations food programs and United Nations refugee, the High Commissioner for Refugees, to extend the help to these people. They didn't. We and ISKCON, right? Some people from ISKCON went in there and built their houses. This is an irony. So many NGOs in Bangladesh receiving so much money. When it comes to the fort, no one goes there. Forget about government. None of this NGO went in there. Why such a bias?
Mhm.
Where is the humanity in that case? Thank you.
I will advocate Lucky. What is the situation of freedom of association for religious minorities in Bangladesh?
The situation of freedom of organization in Bangladesh is not good. They are stopped by creating within the organization, and there is no freedom of speech in the organization. Outspoken people
Mhm.
are falsely accused in various harassment cases.
So, since Advocate Lucky has said that dissenters are regularly harassed, so one famous name is now Chinmoy Krishna Prabhu of ISKCON being arrested in a baseless sedition charges. So, what do you say about it, Mr. Dhiman?
Yeah, this is I do not know how the government put its weight behind it. That was very surprising to me. First of all, I find in this particular case, government and all political party, including BNP, Bangladesh National Party, complicit. Why it is complicit? If you look at, let's say, for the benefit of doubt, right, that
Hmm.
he has an intention to malign Bangladesh flag, right? But how do you prove this? And not an individual, single individual cannot go out there and put a sedition case. It has to be government initiative to look into a series of cases where this such an intention has been depicted, and based on this intention you go after the sedition charge, and it's a government sponsor case. But here we can see a leader from Bangladesh National Party falsely accused that there was a saffron flag has been raised above Bangladesh national flag. But if you look at we have the videos and we have submitted this to everywhere else, and we wanted this to be the High Court should see this, but we have not got a chance. And I can describe why we didn't get a chance on that. Other people has taken over, and then they are pursuing the case of the Chinmay Prabhu. But if you look at that flag, particularly on the video, it has been vandalized. I would say vandalized, meaning you will see the crescent on four corners of the flag. Bangladesh flag does not have crescent on it, right? So then,
Hmm.
in that case, it is not a Bangladesh flag. So the government should go after those Islamists who has taken
Hmm.
Bangladesh flag and try to convert it to Pakistani flag.
Hmm.
So if that is not a Bangladeshi flag, if you raise a saffron flag above it, and it was not actually raised above it, the pole, there has been two poles. One pole is, this is what you call is Bangladesh flag, which I described it was not a Bangladesh flag. And another pole was the saffron flag. And the stick that holds the saffron flag has been a little longer than the one that holding Bangladesh flag. It's not on the top of each other. It's separate from each other. One is higher than one is lower. That does
I
not
mean,
only
this visible disparity in the physical evidence should have been considered by the police while
exactly.
investigating this case already. But unfortunately, nobody is taking note of this disparity. And
Exactly.
thank you for rightly pointing out to the viewers that what is happening over there. So I will again get back to Advocate Lucky and asking the last question to her, and then I will get back to Mr. Dhiman for your comments. So, Advocate Lucky, are the minorities, especially the religious minorities, afraid to report crimes to the authorities?
Yes, Dhimanda already talk about.
Thank you. So, Mr. Dhiman, the last question for today's podcast is that what kind of challenges are you seeing for the religious minorities of Bangladesh, and what kind of recommendations do you have for get them out of it?
So it's a loaded question, very loaded question. You are looking at one, there are two elements to it. One is culture of impunity I talked about, and the judicial system it's as well. Judicial system in certain cases. So this you have a judicial system and this slow pace movement of judicial system. Then now you have law enforcement, and some law enforcement officers are pretty good and want to cooperate, others are not. And in many cases you will see that they will not have done forensic evidence of anything. And we just talked about several cases. One case is we talked about that DS said they have not done digital forensic investigation to arrest and detain someone. In case of this sedition charge against Chinmay Prabhu, they have done the same thing. They have not done any investigation. They just went with the flow. So you have this scenario, and then you have the society at large that has been infused with intolerance, and that intolerance has been, and I am forced to say this, that this infusion of intolerance comes from a specific type of education that has been fostered through religious institutions, and through that it has decayed the entire societal fabric. Now, how do you address this when the entire societal fabric has been decayed? A behavioral pathology of intolerance has been developed within the society. How do you cure that? That's where HRCBM has been advocating for transitional justice. With the transitional justice, you can able to address each of these elements through direct engagement, international pressure, and also the strict enforcement of law. And without transitional justice, because it's a multi-prone attack that you have to do, right? You need government help, you need law enforcement help, you need to educate the society, you need to have the intercommunal dialogues, you need to also explain them that you are unleashing the violence against minority women, for example. But you get to see that one woman from Muslim community came to ask for help, and Advocate Lucky Bachar went in there, investigated that, and we are supporting them. Whoever comes in, the marginalized people will support them, right? Irrespective of caste, creed, or religion. Although our objective is for minorities, but this is showing you that what the gang rape was used as a tool against minorities now has found its way to the community at large, because you have fostered a pathological behavior. That pathological behavior will take you down along with it, because you cannot constrain that when you are fostering. So this educational mentality, this behavioral pathology, impunity of culture, need to have a holistic approach. And without transitional justice, you cannot have this holistic approach. I think with that, and if we got international support and Bangladesh government's cooperation, we can able to bring all the offender to justice, as well as create a society for the betterment of the nation. That's
Thank
what I
you.
think.
Thank you, Dhimanda and Advocate Lucky Bacchar. Thanks to you, that if I summarize, the situation for religious minorities in Bangladesh is quite dire right at this moment. Current government, it is their duty to address this situation, not to deny, to bring the perpetrators to justice. But when you deny, this gives a blank check to the perpetrators to commit crimes against the religious minorities. And for that, for instigating, for incitement, and for failure to control these crimes, you simply cannot deny your liability. So, thank you once
Thank
again for appearing on SADF podcast, and we hope to see you in future in our next episodes.
you. Realized.
Thank you, and
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity. I hope that we can able to answer some of the questions you have raised. It's a very complex situation in Bangladesh. Hope going forward we'll have a further engagement, and we can able to explain some of the areas in more details if necessary. Obliged. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Dora.
Good night.